So here's the cleaning process going on. I take over the whole kitchen, but that's okay, because I don't have a wife to complain that I'm taking over the whole kitchen. My dirty storage solution in my peanut butter jar for rinsing chains or springs or anything that gets your water black in a hurry. And this is the outside parts waiting to go in. This batch is almost done. That's my little ultrasonic cleaner. My buckets, my strike side parts are what's in there. I'll dry them here. And this is the stuff I've already cleaned. I did soap and water basically on the pivots on this, and you could flip it over and get to the leaf pinions that are on the ends of the gears there and clean those little lines out real good. Soap and water on the bird, on the hands, on the people. These parts went through the ultrasound. And that's my time side parts going through the ultrasound. The plate, that's one plate that's gone through twice, 10 minutes at 40 degrees Celsius. It still had a lot of brown spots from lacquer on the inside. So I put it in for another 10 minutes with these parts, so it came out nice. And the other plate's taking its second 10-minute dip. The chains came out nice. I've got a little paper stuck on this one, because when I dry them on the paper towel, it sticks to any snags or teeth that aren't closed right. This one stuck on reminded me that when they had shipped the clock to me, the chains were still in the movement, and they stuck the chains in a padded mailing envelope with the adhesive and peeled the adhesive off and stuck it to the chains. So the chains had some adhesive, so the paper was good at finding where I need to take a little rubbing alcohol and get the adhesive off. But anyway, this next batch, the strike side parts coming out. I can see, you see the little rough surface right there? That's the lacquer breaking up. I don't plan on re-lacquering. You can do what you choose to do with yours, but I think it stays just fine without lacquer. It stays nice and shiny. So I'm going to take a brush and scrub off the rest of that lacquer. And that way it won't be brown. I need two hands to get this out of the basket because it's stuck on something. So I'm not having much luck with one hand. There we go. There's the front. See that brownish discolored part? That's some of the old lacquer. Hasn't come off yet. So this one's going to get another 5 to 8 minute bath just to finish cleaning that up. I could clean it off with the mother's polish. But the fact that it's still got some dissolving lacquer coming up on the back here, I think a few more minutes would do it some good to get it looking like the other plate. And so I'm ready to rinse these parts out. And while I'm rinsing these, I just put the next batch in. So this is all my nuts for holding the movement together, and E-clips and everything. I put them all in there. They're like brand new when they come out. All my lift levers are going in. My rack and sail, my bird post, everything. And so this is a small ultrasonic cleaner. You can see this extra long bird post is about the max of what it's going to clean. I can get it in there at an angle, and that's it. So if you cleaned a lot of the super long movements like the cuckoo quails that have super long plates on them, you'd probably want a bigger ultrasound. But for me, this is a good size. It wasn't super expensive, about 50 bucks. It does everything I want it to do and does a good job. And while the next batch is cleaning, I can keep all my stuff separate and make it easier for me to put it all back together. And I can be rinsing and brushing off those parts while the next batch is doing their 10 minutes. So, alright. Okay, here's everything fresh from the ultrasound. plates came out very nice. I'm not going to have to touch them up with anything. And all my wheels came out really nice. So we're going to set some parts aside and work on our pivots and also our pivot holes. You want to take toothpicks and go through all your pivot holes, check all of your pivots for wear on the ends of them. Make sure you don't have any grooves on there. Polish them up good, however method you choose. And music box, we'll play with it. Make sure we know how to oil it and get it serviced. Still got to get adhesive off the chains, and that's all my pieces for the front outside. So everything came out real good. So we're going to work on this stuff. I have Q-tips that have little wood sticks. I can put in the bigger holes to clean them out. Not seeing any dirt on them. But what's nice about these is you can go in like so and spin it around and kind of polish that inside edge. Get a little dirt off that way. And flip it over. You're going to do both sides, every hole. And do not forget pieces that go on the outside, getting these cleaned out. Wood does a good job of smoothing. You can feel it. It's not super slick. You can use smoothing broaches to do this, to burnish the insides of things like this. It's got a little bit of dirt in there, see? A few stripes going around there. But wood seems to burnish it pretty nicely. Plus you can feel if you have any little burrs of metal, they're going to snag on this wood. And you're going to know you need to file it a little bit there. So anyway, I'm going to finish cleaning all this up and we'll start putting the movement back together. Okay, I guess I'm ready to start putting this back together. This big wheel turns your hands. Now I'm going to put the plate on this side. It's not the right hole. I'm going to put the plate on this side and I'm going to check my pivot holes. It's a one-day movement. I mean, it would have to have a pretty big slop from side to side for me to put a bushing in it. Side looks fine. Very little, tiny bit of side to side movement in that wheel. Nothing really in the other ones. So I'm going to put the other side on. I did not mention, make sure your plate is flat. This plate was kind of bowed up in the middle when I laid it on a flat surface, and I flattened it back out some. You're not going to get in shake on your middle pivots if your plate is bent in or out. Puts pressure on the wrong spots. Alright, so this side, this guy goes up. And my levers. This guy goes here. I'm going to have to get a little E-clip on there. I guess you start on the strike side on a Regula. Cause this ain't working. Okay, so that one is on. This guy has to be second. So it goes here, and this black cam goes side to side on here. And then this little guy fits in that hole and goes in that hole. And that little dip goes around this guy with my warning pin on it. And I don't really know where the warning pin is supposed to be. I am going to put it on about 2 o'clock. if I was looking straight on the clock. I've got the warning pin over here. Alright, let me fiddle with all these little pivots and I'll be back. Head back up to put this on because it's so long, it's got to go on before everything else. So I've got it in there. I think I've got all my pieces in. So I like to just take my pivot locator and just bump them up and down and make sure that every piece has some end shake, can go back and forth. That one is going up and down. It wasn't last time I checked, and this one doesn't really have much either, and that was because I had put the fan in upside down. So had to open it again and get the pieces turned the right way so that now I can wiggle each one up and down. There is end shake on everything on this side. So I'm ready to snug these down and start putting my outside pieces on. I've oiled all these pivot holes, and I oiled the shaft of these two because these two have things on them that go around and around. So we're going to start with this guy. These two guys. I'm going to try to get this landed where it was before I took it apart. And now I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's put these lift wires on, lift levers on. Trying to remember which one goes behind. That goes in that hole. That guy goes there. It would have just fallen off right there. So I'm going to put these two clips back on them. If I put any pressure at all, it gets it just far enough apart I can't get them on there. Okay, it's easier to not film and do this, so I'm going to get those two on there. Okay, I have these two guys on. I have some end shake in the plate. This is the one that the music activator is going to go on. So it was a little snugger than that. I'm hoping that's going to be a good distance. And then I've got the gathering palette, the Pac-Man on there. So let's try this one more time. Oh, I didn't put my spring on there. It's a little easier to get on without your rack and snail on there. You can put it on the frame and then swing it around a little bit easier without all that stuff in your way. Okay, so we can activate that. And it's hitting in the bottom of the cam, and the pin is against this lever on the rack stop lever right there. If it wasn't, you could turn this cam and get it lined up the way you want. And that is about where it was hitting at 12 o'clock before we did anything. That snapped a little bit better. If you don't have these little metal teeth on this side of the wheel, it'll come right back off again. You can check it and make sure it's holding. Alright, so let's try this. There's not an arm on this to pull this up with. It's hard to lift it. Let's try activating it with the hand. I got a little pressure on the strike side wheel. Lifting. Half hour, one time. That is barely hitting on the 1 o'clock. I need to move that over probably. It's shutting off nicely. This should be 2 o'clock. Did you see how it hit on the arch and then kind of fell down into here? So my snail is too far to the left. I need to pick it up and move it a tooth over to the right to make it hit a little flatter on there. Where's my hand? That should be the half hour, but it's not letting me turn. think my rack wasn't down far enough. That's better. Hitting on a flat part. But it's not hitting on so it's letting it go into warning. It's lifting up high enough that the pin can go under this lever, but the lever that it hits on this rack lift lock lever right here, when it goes into warning, it hits a lever on the back side of this that sticks down through the hole, and it is not, maybe I'm still in warning, that's why. Now, 1, 2, 3, 3 o'clock, all right. So if it's not working, don't forget to check your hand position. Half hour. One, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and my hand looks pretty much straight up and down. I've had to adjust the hurricane symbol on the bottom to get it to do that. There is a little adjustable, luckily, this piece has a little adjustable part, but this part wasn't wanting to turn, and I noticed that the hurricane symbol moved a little bit when I touched it, so I made sure it was pushed down on the shaft tight enough, because it's pressure fitted like this little Pac-Man, and adjusted to the right spot so that the clock will go off when you want it to go off, not 5 minutes late like it was doing. So pretty much straight up and down. I know it doesn't look like it in that camera angle, but I'm not holding the camera straight at you really. Alright, so anyway, let's put the clips on to hold these pieces. We've got the washer and this one. We're in a good spot with the higher part of the snail up that way. It's a little bit easier to put the bottom one on. The magnetic screwdrivers are good. These things don't go flying, but they also grab it too. When you don't want it to, pick it up. It picks it up. All right. Now we need a couple things on the back side. Oh, nope, we didn't put this. So we need to have this on the inside of the arm. I do believe the little button goes maybe it goes on the outside of the button to push it. I feel like it goes on the inside of the button, but I'll stop and look at some pictures and make sure. I put this arm on and I did my little test, and the arm wasn't really moving. It is inside there. It is locking. When I activate, you'll see the bird lever post is out, but it doesn't come back when it's done because this is still locked on here. So in looking, my second wheel had turned. It's got that cam on it, the two big tabs, and they're not sideways anymore, they're up and down, and it's keeping this arm from being able to raise up and get out of the way so that this can come back in. So I've got to open the movement and separate this wheel from the leaf pinions that are touching it and turn it about, right now it's kind of like so, so I'm going to have to turn it to get it at 3 and 9 again. Okay, I think I've got it right. Bird post comes out. Bird post snaps back. So the cam on the second wheel is side to side right now, which lets this little arm come up in the air, releasing this tab, which lets this part come back and let the bird come back. When the bird goes out, that tab pushes down on this part, which makes it lock onto that. And also my spring had come loose from my thing, so it wasn't wanting to spring back. So instead of turning that whole cam second wheel right there, opening it up and take it apart, you can turn your Pac-Man also, because the Pac-Man is attached to that wheel on the end there. So I took pliers and twisted that around. After I got it about where I wanted it, I adjusted my cam to be the peg falling into the mouth of the Pac-Man again. So I think now we're ready to put the stuff on the back. That was fun. Alright. Other gong lever. And this guy on top, gong hammer, and then that spring I need to put back down in that hole. I'm going to take it around one time to tighten it up, because usually when you release it, it unwinds one time. Sometimes more than that. I've got it pointing the wrong direction. So down in the hole. And then grab the bottom and wrap it around. Now as far as the star wheel, I'm going to try to put these two guys in the same hole. Okay, and then just shy of lifting my gong. So see where the gong lifts, and then back up just a little bit. And let's try it out. wire's getting caught on my other wire. It's exceedingly hard to do on camera sideways for you guys to see. I think it might be time to put the camera behind me. So we're trying to check the function of it. Watch everything at the same time. Make sure this goes in and out, and it goes gong, cuckoo. Okay, get my finger out of the way. It just went into warning because the fan started turning. Now it fell down. Gong, coo, coo, 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 gong, coo, coo. And the bird post snapped back in. So that all looks good. Now I have to see how badly I've bent this up. This wire coming off of your verge should be straight out. This should be straight down. This foot should be straight out. And mine is bent back, as you can see. It's going to rub on things because I've mashed it in here trying to fix things. So I'm going to straighten this stuff up and make sure it is straight this way, which it's not. It's bent over that way. And then we're going to put the bird post on, and we'll put it in the movement and put some chains on and let it run a little bit and get it in beat. There we go. Always take an extra minute to get it in there, right? Because you think you're in there and you start threading and you cross thread, you've just created a world of problems. So see how I'm kind of sideways? I'm going to turn it, tighten it until it is straight up and down. You want this U wire to be straight up and down. Alright, let's put some chains on this bad boy.